Michelle Bachmann actually predicted that I would bring about the biblical end of days. Now that's a legacy. That's big. I mean, Lincoln, Washington, they didn't do that.
President Obama did more than give that speech in Cairo today. Along with some of his top staffers, he took in the sights of ancient Egypt, including the pyramids. The president visited the tomb of an Egyptian priest where a stone carving suddenly caught his eye because something looked familiar.
Car, and actually,
that looks like me. Look at those ears.
and he was the
President's tour guide went on to beg to differ. He said he's always thought the president looked more like King Tut of ancient Egypt.
And these two come in the final 16th. It's American Pharaoh in front. Firing line. Dortmund is third. Frosted is fourth. Coming to the finish, American Pharaoh and Victor Espinosa have won the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, the Rockies. Actually, that's American Pharaoh, ridden by Victor Espinosa and trained by Hall of Famer Bob Baffert, holding off the competition in the 141st Kentucky Derby. It's Baffert's fourth victory, first since 2002, and the second straight for Espinosa, who rode California Chrome last year.
Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. And welcome to the fourth quarter of my presidency. I am determined to make the most of every moment I have left. From Scripture, we learn of the miracle of restoration. You who have made me see many troubles and calamities will revive me again. From the depths of the earth, you will bring me up again. You will increase my greatness and comfort me again. John Boehner's already invited Netanyahu to speak at my funeral. Somebody's got to do it. Fact is, though, at this point, my legacy is finally beginning to take shape.
Saudi Arabia is apparently prepared to allow Israeli jets into its airspace to conduct attacks on Iran. That's according to a report by the Israeli Channel 2 TV station, citing an unnamed senior European source. The move will allow Israel to bomb targets in Iran and avoid a lengthy detour around the Persian Gulf. The report highlighted the close collaboration and shared intelligence between Israel and Saudi Arabia over Iran's controversial nuclear program. Both countries are worried Tehran is close to developing an atomic bomb.
The Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered to lift the ban on the delivery of the S-300 missile systems to Iran. Putin's order will become effective upon his signature. Reports say the delivery of the S-300 systems could be completed in a few months to a year, depending on the model. Israel and the United States were quick to criticize Russia over the decision. Tel Aviv says it will put Israel in danger. Iran had purchased a sophisticated defense mechanism at $800 million in 2007, but Russia failed to deliver it until 2010, when the UN Security Council banned selling arms to Iran. Now the Russian Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov, says that the S-300 is a defense system and does not fall within the sanctions on sales of arms to Iran.
Now, Russia is set to resume deliveries of its state-of-the-art air defense system to Iran. Vladimir Putin has signed a decree that ends a 5-year-old embargo. Now, let's get more details from RT's Medina Kochnova. So, Medina, what has prompted this move? Tell us more.
Well, the necessity for the embargo on S-300 air defense systems has fallen away as a result of relations with Iran improving and of a recent breakthrough that was reached in Switzerland over Tehran's nuclear program. Now, that's according to Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Now, the contract for supplying the S-300 was first signed 8 years ago, but then in 2010, the embargo was introduced in a bid to stimulate the talks between the 6 world powers and Iran over its nuclear program. And currently, the Russian President Vladimir Putin has given a go-ahead for delivery as the sides are getting closer to reaching a final agreement and lifting sanctions. Now, the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Iran needs the S-300 due to quite a tense situation in the region, and he also stressed that the equipment in question is purely defensive and it represents no threat to nearby countries, including Israel. Now, and at the moment, all eyes are on Israel and its reaction on the news, considering the fact that the country always saw Iran as its main enemy.
Iran has reacted positively to Russia's decision to deliver S-300 defense missile systems. Defense Minister Brigadier General Hossein Dehghan says the decision is the manifestation of the determination by Iran and Russia to promote mutual ties in all areas. General Dehghan says cooperation between the two countries will help strengthen regional stability. Also, Iran's security chief, Ali Shamkhani, says Russia's decision to deliver S-300 missile system is the result of Iran's policies that he says have contributed to regional stability. Shamkhani says the decision was also the result of the goodwill of the Russian President Vladimir Putin towards Iran.
Inside the Iranian convoy lurking off the coast of Yemen are, a U.S. military official says, small Iranian warships, raising the stakes in an already tense standoff as 9 U.S. warships keep watch nearby, by sea and from the air, with U.S. F/A-18 Hornets flying reconnaissance missions. The convoy, though still in international waters, is now moving deeper into the Gulf of Aden. The American warships join vessels from Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and other partner nations, prepared to intercept the Iranian vessels should they enter Yemeni territorial waters, an attempt to deliver arms to Houthi rebels. Still, U.S. officials tell CNN the American ships are primarily in place to give the president military options inside Yemen and, crucially, to protect trade.
The movement of this particular aircraft carrier would augment the American military presence in the Gulf of Aden and would send a clear signal about our continued insistence about the free flow of commerce and the freedom of movement in the region.
Iran has often flexed its maritime muscle with high-profile, sometimes provocative exercises at sea. A confrontation with Iran, such as forcibly boarding an Iranian ship, would be extraordinary. Pentagon officials acknowledge that moving additional U.S. warships to the region provides additional options to assist the Saudi-led coalition if necessary.
We want to have the naval presence there not only to send a message, but also to be able to keep an eye on what these vessels do, and if the vessels are allowed to dock, what is unloaded and where those supplies go.
It is the rapid deterioration on the ground in Yemen that the U.S. is most concerned with. Recent airstrikes in the Houthi-controlled Yemeni capital of Sana'a have killed 25 and wounded more than 400. All this as the U.S. tries to finalize a nuclear deal with the Iranians and urge the release of U.S. citizens held in Iran. Among them, Washington Post journalist Jason Rezaian, who is now facing 4 charges, including spying and aiding a hostile government.
Being president is never easy. I still have to fix a broken immigration system, issue veto threats, negotiate with Iran, all while finding time to pray 5 times a day.
The White House said to be ready to ramp up weapons sales to Saudi Arabia in an effort to ease fears of a deal with Iran. There are reports the Obama administration is weighing to offer the Saudi kingdom the same advanced weapons previously only sold to Israel. Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, the author of the new book, Valley of the Shadow, and a Fox News strategic analyst. Colonel, good morning to you. This is bunker buster technology. This is advanced missile defense system. What does that mean, if true, for the Saudis?
Well, it tells me that the Saudis, the Israelis, and the Pentagon, the serious players in the Pentagon, believe the Iranians are going to get nukes and there will eventually be a major war. I mean, our erstwhile allies, the Sunni Arabs, Gulf Arabs, Saudis, are in an absolute panic. They believe the Obama deal is a bad deal. The Israelis believe it's a bad deal. And Obama, while his ostensible goal is peace, by triggering this further arms race, and also by virtually guaranteeing that Iran will get nuclear weapons, he is building up the Middle East, setting up the Middle East for a region-wide conflagration that will scorch beyond anything we've seen to date. I mean, this is going to be Shia versus Sunni, Israel in the mix. And the bunker busters for the Saudis are a little bit of a sop, because I'm not convinced their pilots could deliver them accurately, especially with the new Russian-built air defense systems going to Iran. But the Israelis getting the big new SBU-57, the 30,000-pounder, that is serious, because the Israelis could do a lot of damage.
But in the big picture, though, you think what this says, though, is that we, as a nation, the administration, is willing to do whatever it takes to get a deal with Iran.
Yeah, you bribe the Gulf Arabs and Saudis with the weapons they want, so they're quiet while the deal goes through with Iran. And that deal with Iran, I mean, people are agonizing over what the Iranians are doing now throughout the region. Once that deal is signed, even if the U.S. Congress blocks our part of it, once the deal is signed with the Iranians, suddenly the sanctions around the world are lifted. People pile in to make money. It's a gold rush. Iran is rich, and a rich Iran can do more damage than a poor Iran.
There is no question about that. There is an arms race right now, and you can see it play out day by day. I wonder how concerned the Israelis are. I wonder what Mitch McConnell's going to do this week in the Senate, along with Bob Corker from Tennessee. Can Congress get in the middle of this or not?
Congress can retard the deal as it affects the United States and Iran. It cannot stop the global gold rush. It just can't do it. But, you know, Obama and the Iranians together have done something we would have thought was a miracle once, and that was bring the Saudis, the Gulf Arabs, the Egyptians, the Israelis all together in a relatively overt alliance against Iran.
Wow, that's a remarkable statement. Your new book is called Valley of the Shadow. You have a lot of talent. Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
Valley of the Shadow is out now. Nice to have you.
We need to realize how close this clock is to getting toward the midnight hour. And I think that's why, for our sake, for the sake of our family, for our nation, for the next generations, we need to cry out to a holy God. This is coming faster than anyone can see. I know I worked very hard on the Intelligence Committee to try and keep up with what was happening in the world. It got to such a crescendo, I could hardly keep up with it anymore. The events have picked up such a pace, and they're going to continue. It's just like the Bible forewarned, that in the last days it will be like the beginning of birth pangs. In my opinion, we are far beyond the beginning of birth pangs. We're moving far down into the process. For women who are listening to this show today, you know what I'm talking about, what it's like to deliver a baby at the very beginning stage and then at the very end before the baby is born. All I can tell you as a mom who has given birth to 5 babies, the birth pangs are very close together. They're very intense now, and we are literally watching month by month the speed move up to a level we've never seen before with these events. Barack Obama is intent. It is his #1 goal to ensure that Iran has a nuclear weapon. Why? Why would you put the nuclear weapon in the hands of madmen who are Islamic radicals who believe it's their religious duty to bomb Israel and to bomb the United States? That is where we're headed right now. And that's why the best thing that we can do is have churches and pastors explain our times. Believers need to get our lives right with God and then we intercede and intercede, and then not despair, but rejoice that we get to be living in the most exciting time in history. Prophets said we look to the future, we long to see those days and live in those days. Why? Because it's the return of a soon and coming King. Jesus Christ is coming back. We, in our lifetimes, potentially could see Jesus Christ returning to earth, the rapture of the church. This is one of the most exciting times in history. We need to be exactly watching the tenor of the times, be observing, and look up. Our redemption draweth nigh. These are wonderful times, but we see the destruction, but this is the destruction that was foretold.